Nighttime in Richmond. It is so dark here that killers strike as though they are invisible. For the people living amongst these hills, darkness has become the enemy. When night falls, the police move only in groups and travel within the safety of armored vehicles. Covered against the cold of KwaZulu Natal Midlands, people gather to pray for the dead, to mourn and to share in their grief. Day breaks over Maswazini, which means the place of the Swazis. Neighbors, family and friends of the Poswa family gather. Police tape mark the footprints of last night's killers. The night before, shortly after supper, the pregnant Tuleleni, her husband and her 2 little boys were killed in their beds. Down the road, Tulani Mtolo was also gunned down. To die in Richmond today is not to die as a man, woman, or a child with a name. You die as a member of either the United Democratic Front or the African National Congress. Even to die here is regarded a political act. If you die on the left-hand side of the only tar road that runs through the Richmond Valley, Sifeso Nkabinde, Bantu Misa and Rolf Meyer will mourn at your vigil. Whilst to be mowed down on the right-hand side will bring the ANC leadership to your grave. Today, the ANC is burying Michi Kele, Sibani Madondu, Wander Myendi, Simpiwe Nkumalu, Sandile Dlomo, Gugu Nkobo, Mandla Kumalu, Nomtobi Kasiye Kumalu, Roy Mbotwe, Mutsi Khadebe.
Mandibuza ukuthi ningaliphi niqembu ndabatshela ukuthi nduma wezingane zami ndabona bedlula abanye bangumsindo ndingayazi nalento abayifuna kum sundisindisa Nkosi yami.
A day later, Kumbuzile Mtolo was buried by the UDM on the other side. Richmond is a valley surrounded by acres and acres of forest and sugarcane. About 3,000 whites live here, some 65,000 black people. A road runs through it. To the left is Ndaleni, the ANC stronghold, and on the other side of the tar road, Magoda, which means the place of knots. Magoda is also known as Sifeso side. Whichever political party he joins, Magoda residents will follow. Violence is no newcomer to this place. It started a long time ago. First during the fight against the Pretoria-appointed Nkosi, and in the 80s the fighting between the Incartha Freedom Party and the United Democratic Front claimed an estimated 23,000 lives in this province. Hundreds of people from Richmond died in this period. In the last couple of months, over 80 people were killed here. In recent days, some 30 died in 2 weeks. On this homemade front line, ANC youths keep a lookout for the enemy. The enemy is not, like a couple of years ago, the police or the army. There, on the other side of the road, is the enemy. Neighbors, friends, even family members. These youngsters are not the only ones watching. The sign warns that God's eye will see what bad you do to others, and tomorrow it will be you. They say some 20,000 people have left the area. Now people are fleeing again. The area between Ndaleni and Magoda is a no-man's land. An eerie silence hangs amongst the destroyed and empty houses here. Patton Tolo is an ANC Youth League member. He used to live in this part of Ndaleni.
Yeah, this is my home. But no one is staying here at the moment. It's no use building a better house, whereas one has to be killed or has to leave it at any stage. It's only that it's by the edge, like the road is separating the two sides. So it's easy for them to creep and kill people here. It has happened. So that's why people are running away from this place. You lead an abnormal life, I would say. For people who are outside of Ndaleni, they wonder why these people are always dusty. They are always moving around. In the afternoons, they move away from their homes, and in the mornings, they come back to their homes with luggages. So it seems as if the whole community is abnormal, I would say.
Life has become so abnormal that these people who are leaving their home were too scared to even speak to us. Who knows, they said, the next to be gunned down while sleeping might be them. That's why they're leaving. When the night falls, women and children walk miles to the town hall, hoping to escape being massacred in their homes. Black people are not the only ones who want to run away, though. Recently, 8 people were gunned down in a tavern on the main road of Richmond. For the whites, this was too close for comfort.
They're too scared to speak. They come in the bar and it's like they drink, but they very, you can see they're scared. They watch the door every time they hear a car or someone walks in the door. All the eyes goes to the door. They're very scared. Some people want to leave. Some people want to stay and try and make it work. Like I say, they're very quiet, really. But they're very scared.
To know Richmond is to know this man. To understand this place is to be one step ahead of him.
Nkabinde angikho la ngimsola khona mina eyintweni ezimbi. Yebo abantu bayamusha ukuthi uyisigebengu Nkabinde. Kodwa mina ngakabona ubugebengu.
I think he's power hungry. That's the only term I could use. That is power hungry. He wants everything to be under his control.
Sifeso in Nkabinde was the most formidable opponent of the IFP in the Midlands.
I've worked with enough Mpimpis in my life, so I know that they exist and that you can't get a situation where there is no infiltration.
Yingakho sithi uNkabinde uyindoda eneqiniso futhi nanamanje thina njengabantu abamlandelayo siyomlandela noma ngabe kuthiwani ngoba silandela umuntu oneqiniso.
Hey, he's clever, he's loving, he's tender. He really know how to look after us. And he's got a soft spot in his chest.
The man is greedy. He's power hungry. He wants to be able to walk down the street and people must bow down to him.
Who is Sifeso Nkabinde? He used to be the ANC's crown prince in the 1980s. He was Harry Gwala's right-hand man. They loved him because he was a fearless soldier, a formidable and popular leader. But then he was branded a spy for the previous government's security forces, the unforgivable sin, labelled an impimpi by his former comrades. Last year, he was arrested and charged with murdering 18 people. Earlier this year, he was acquitted and immediately joined Bantu Holomisa and Rolf Meyer's United Democratic Movement. Now, Nkabinde is untouchable, unrepentant, fearless, arrogant.
So I'm saying, if you talk about Richmond, talk about Nkabinde, because it is Nkabinde who made this Richmond up to be what it is. No one else.
Nkabinde is married to Nonhlanhla Clarabelle. They have 4 children. He has no intention of taking his family away from Magoda. He was born here, and he will die here, he says.
When my time is up, it will be up. So I've got nothing to fear. I cannot really lock myself in the room because I'm scared that they'll kill me. If my time is up, it will be up. Because I believe that when I came into this world, God had plans for me.
For some people in Magoda, Sifeso Nkabinde is not only a politician. These 3 men were caught after having stolen and slaughtered a cow. Even though Nkabinde was not at home at the time, angry residents took the culprits to his house for him to decide their fate. As controversial as Sifeso Nkabinde is in the Midlands, so are the police. When Nkabinde was acquitted, the presiding judge said that he was the single most untouched witness in the trial. The police failed dismally to present a watertight case against him. Now they are looking for new scapegoats. The Minister of Safety and Security and the Police Commissioner fingered 8 policemen. They are now being transferred from Richmond. Permission to speak to any policeman was denied. As one senior investigating officer said, if you speak about Sifeso Nkabinde or the violence in this area, you will either get transferred, fired from the police force, or accused of being involved in the violence. Only the media liaison officer was allowed to speak.
If every policeman has to speak to you, then when is he going to do his job?
Superintendent, there's been very strong allegations made in the media by various people, including the police, that some of the local policemen in Richmond are involved in the violence. Can you give me any evidence of that?
I think at this stage it's more a perception, and one must also take note that the Minister's office dealt with this directly. At this point in time, the Minister is busy addressing this problem, and of course, as I mentioned, I think the Minister also said that there is no conclusive evidence to substantiate what has been said, that certain policemen are involved in the crime here who are or are presumed to be fanning the violence here.
So these policemen are getting transferred because of a perception, not because of hard facts.
Well, at the end of the day, you know, if to improve efficiency in the South African police service, then certain things have to be done, and one of them being is to transfer people. If it could improve efficiency and at the end of the day bring back the image of the South African police service, then this must be done.
You believe that this is politics being played out here through the barrel of a gun?
Well, I can mention that the exact motive for these killings have not been established yet, but we're not ruling out the possibility that it could be linked to the ongoing political conflict in this area.
With this in mind, 800 policemen recently conducted a search operation in Magoda and Ndaleni. All they found were 3 homemade guns, a few bags of dacha, and a couple of cartridges. Yet, it was called a successful public relations exercise. If the violence in Richmond is political, it has nothing to do with politics as we know it. Rather like in Godfather movies, political role players position their bodyguards and then speculate about who is killing who.
We are basically confused about the criminality that is being unleashed in the Richmond area since May 1997. As members of the community, we find it both frightening, traumatic, and confusing that people who want to foment violence in the Richmond area would unleash this kind of savagery that we are experiencing.
You've only mentioned that it's criminal, so there's no politics involved here.
Oh, well, to be honest with you, there is no conflict between any political party. There have been rumors, or people have said that there's conflict between the UDM and the ANC, and this basically has to be denied because there is no open conflict between any two political parties.
Ngoba ayikho impi ebulela abantu kuliyo la kubulawa abantu ngobugebengu okwesibili kubulawa kodwa lezi igebengu lezi msakazi ziphansi kwenhlangano zethu.
Although one cannot say who is busy hunting for the people's lives at night, but we all know that those criminals come from a certain side of the community.
What side?
So they are coming from the side which is thought to be a UDM site.
The mayor of the town said it's criminal. I haven't seen anybody stolen anything from any dead person yet.
Yes.
What is happening here?
Well, I think that the kind of argument which the mayor and the ANC leaders are using to justify their refusal to talk to the UDM is a one-way street. They are saying essentially that they don't need to talk to the UDM because the violence is being perpetrated by criminal elements.
What you're having here is that people are asleep and no one knows about their political affiliation or their general activities. They are children, they are women, they are defenseless, they are innocent, and somebody wakes up at night, comes into their house, bangs their doors and opens there, shoots them and kills them. And they're killed with kind of brutality and the kind of which it reminds us of what used to happen in 93, 92, 93, 94 in Gauteng, where you used to find somebody just walks into the train, he opens fire, he kills a lot of people, he throws people out of the train and so on. And you could ask me whether that was criminal or political, and I say it's both.
Futhi enye into kuyiyona yona esiyibona kakhulu la endaweni yase Richmond. So kukhona inzondo, kukhona omunye umuntu mayizondo omunye xabene nomunye umuntu aqasha ngenhlangano akazi ukumthola kumbulala bese kuthiwa inhlangano embulela.
I asked Nkabinde whether he has a clean conscience.
I still maintain that if I was guilty of any sort or any involvement in violence in this area, definitely I will be really rotting in prison. The fact that I'm out is an indication that I'm walking with a very clean conscience and with my head very tall.
When you came out of prison, the violence started again. Please explain that to me. What does that mean?
I think that is not correct that while I was in prison, things were quiet in Richmond. That is very much far from the truth. I think it is a matter of record that while I was in prison, 15 people died in Richmond.
Why is it that all of a sudden, the first day somebody that Nkabinde gets released, all of a sudden there are deaths?
My argument is, how did they know by then that there will be violence should I get acquitted?
The image that you have given me of you is one of an angel.
I'm not an angel. Angels are only in heaven.
In this small community without angels, people are literally getting away with murder. Faced with this murkiness and confusion, blaming a third force with links to the security forces is maybe the easiest option, but not necessarily the correct one. If Sifeso and Nkabinde is involved in the violence, then the police, the mayor, and all the politicians in KwaZulu Natal have failed the residents of Richmond.